problem.
So many fun people to interview. I so loving doing this, and I'm hoping as we're going live here. We're live on Facebook now, and I keep clicking on Instagram. Okay, are we live there too? We are live everywhere, and I'm so delighted to be live with the amazing Tracey Devlyn. She is a best-selling author of more than a dozen books now, and she's what we call a hybrid author. So she's going to have a lot of interesting things to share, and maybe hopefully some encouraging information to everyone. So hoping some of my buddies, I always worry that I'm all by myself here until I see the first person come. So hoping some of my team, my troops are going to get here. But guys, even if you come in late to these things, you know that this stays up on my Sheila Roberts YouTube channel. So if you miss anything, you can watch it there. Facebook does not keep things very long anymore. So if you catch it right away, you can find it on Facebook. But we will be hanging on YouTube. There's some of the gang. Diane is here from freezing New Jersey. Oh,
Hi, Diane.
From Arizona. Diane, you guys still have ice? Is everybody iced in? I'm not sure what the latest. Are you iced? You're nodding, Tracy. Are you still iced in?
Well, yeah, parts. I'm in the mountains, so some where things are shaded, that's still iced right now, and then we got 6 inches of snow on top of it. So you can imagine what that's been like the last couple of days.
You know, it's so interesting. You guys are all. Hi, Nancy. Thanks for coming. You guys are also dying down there with the ice and the snow and everything. And here in the Pacific Northwest, it's like monsoon season. We're getting rain, but it's not being cold enough in the mountains to give us our snowpack. So everybody's already going, oh my gosh, are we going to be having a drought come summer? We have no idea. But I could, I'm not going to complain that it's not snowing, but doggone. Hey, there's gang. Hi, everybody. Hi. Hi there. I see my buddy Cindy has joined us. Hi to Anna. And hi, I see Pam is with us here on Instagram. Hey, I see some people on Insta also. So guys, we're happy with this. And one more time, and then I won't repeat it again because we want to get right to the skinny. Oh, Zephyr Hills is here. Hello, Zephyr. Here with the amazing Tracey Devlyn, who is not only a best-selling author, but she's gorgeous. I should be jealous and hate her. I don't know why I don't. She's just beautiful. And she's also, this is an interesting side about her. She is a conservationist, and she has several different organizations that she helps. So she is doing her part to make the world a better place. And how did you, I was trying to remember how you just phrased that when we were talking.
I think I said,
healthy so we could be healthy. I forgot how you said it.
Keep the planet healthy so we can stay healthy. Yeah,
I love that. I thought that's a beautiful way to phrase it. Oh, Diane, 8 inches of snow now, ice covered. Oh, at least they hit 32. Lucky you. First day in over 9 days. Oh my goodness. You guys, I am so sorry for all of you who are suffering with the all icky stuff. Oh my goodness. Oh, Pam, I'm glad you got sound on Insta. I know everything is working okay here. So guys, when you have trouble with the feed, I'm assuming there are gremlins on the internet that are messing things up because it's okay on our end. I'm having no troubles, just to let you know. So as I mentioned earlier, Tracey is what we call a hybrid. Tracey has been traditionally published. Tracey has published herself. And Tracey has written all kinds of, I'm going to show you the cover of the book that I read. I asked her for a recommendation, Flashpoint. And if you're wondering why this has got little marks on it, because I thought, well, I can't pick every sentence I thought was gorgeous, but I had a couple of sentences I want to read to you guys to show you what a lovely wordsmith she is, because I was really impressed by these. So I'm going to do that right now. And hi, Lisa of South Carolina.
Oh, a neighbor.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, but and then we'll get into more about what Tracey is writing and the series that this is part of. But I love these sentences. I underlined them. It's just a cool way of using words. Her features slid back into neutral. I would never thought, it's really hard for me. I read these books with great sentences and they don't, you may not steal that. They already did that. But it's hard to go, oh, that's a great sentence. I want to use that. Anyway, I promise I won't. Anyway, I forget because I have may have no memory anymore. My memory chip is completely broken. Here's another good one. I'm going to read you kind of the whole paragraph here. 2 paragraphs. As per usual, her mind roiled in conflict when it came to the bar's team leader. We'll tell you more about what bars is when she's talking about the book. Anger about his high-handedness and his inability to keep a secret still simmered in her veins. But those thoughts were not the ones causing her heart to break dance inside her chest as she drew closer to the runner. her heart to break dance inside her chest. I love that. That's such a cool turn of phrase, and these are
Thank
all
you.
over the place through this book. But we're going to get more to that. But I will say now, guys, as you know, we almost always have a giveaway, and Tracy's going to be very kind. If you are here in the U.S. and would like to try a Tracy book, she will send you a physical book. She will send, if you're not in the country, she will send you an ebook. She has a way to be able to do that. But we are going to say, everybody, we all have different reading tastes, and some of us like a little spice, some of us don't want it. And Tracy, I was asking you earlier, she had a funny way of putting it, but how would you rate your books, just so people know?
I don't know how to rate them exactly, but I guess you could say that if you're talking about the more intimate parts, that I don't burn up the sheets, I just singe them a little.
I just
So
thought that was hilarious. I love that way of saying, yeah. And little Sheila is like going, ah, don't look. So there were a few spots, but overall, I mean, this was a great book, really, really good plot. So if that does not bother you, to somebody mentioning a couple of things that maybe you would not mention, then this is going to be, you're going to love this book. If you are going, I didn't want to mention anything, then maybe Tracy isn't the girl for you. But if you like it's a little spice, but not a whole lot of graphic information, then this is a good book, because it's also a great suspense read. And so we're going to get into a little bit of Tracy and what she writes. And first of all, let's find out what inspired you to become a writer.
what inspired me? Well, I guess I was, I've been an well, that's a really complicated question for me, and it shouldn't be, because I never really got into reading as a child. I didn't have that support system that would take, someone who would take me to the library, or, anything like that. So I didn't get into reading until I was into my 20s. But once I started, I couldn't stop. So I became a very, very avid reader. And I mean, I consumed books, many, many a week. And there was a spell where I got a hold of 2 or 3 books where the endings it was like, I really could have just taken the book and just tossed it up against the wall. The ending just was so unsatisfying to me. And as one does, I'm like, I could have written a better ending, right? And so that was, yeah, the conceit there, right? The huge
We all do
conceit.
it.
So yeah. So anyway, that's how it started. I just that little kind of off comment to myself made me think, I'm like, oh, I wonder what it takes to write a novel. And, are there books out there that could tell you how to do that? So that's what I did. I went to the bookstore, searched for how to write a romance. I found a book called How to Write a Romance Novel. And then, yeah, I've never turned back. So
That is
that's
so
how it
cool.
started.
Well, you have elevated it to a high, I mean, she is, like I said, Tracy is a beautiful wordsmith, and I love the plot, and I like that there's resolution at the end of the book. I kind of want that wrapped up in the little bow on there. I want to know what
Yeah.
happens and how it ends. So I like that. I got that with your book. So we got a few people that have come in. Hi to all of you who've come in as we've been talking. To Joe Marie, I'm glad you found the feed. That's great. Nancy says, I will have to check out Tracy's books. Well, remember, guys, if this sounds interesting, we can only give away one, but if you would like to put your name in the hat for the drawing to get one of Tracy's books, be sure and say that as an actual comment, and they'll have Gerhardt paw around and draw a name. Oh, Diane says you couldn't find a feed last week. I don't know. Maybe things are just going weird on the internet. But like I said, for those of you who come in late, don't worry. It's going to be on my YouTube channel, and you can check it out there. Along with, there are also some favorite songs, songs I've written. And so if you haven't visited my YouTube channel, be sure and check that out. So moving right along, I want to know then, what inspired you? What authors did you read about? Whoa, I really like this author.
When I started reading, like I said, like it was 2 or 3 books a week I started reading. I was introduced to the romance genre. I took this was many years ago, but I called it a mental health day from work. AKA I stayed home and vegged out on the couch, right? So, I saw a, one of those, morning shows, I don't know if anybody will remember this, but it was Jenny Jones, and she had a panel of romance authors on there.
Oh,
And I went to the bookstore and I picked up 2 or 3 of those romance authors, the ones that whose names I could remember. So they were the ones that I picked up were historical romance authors, and that is primarily what I read for several years. So my inspiration, my influence came from some of those legends of historical romance, like Virginia Henley, Johanna
oh,
Lindsay,
oh, yeah. Yeah,
Lisa
John Lindsay.
Kleypas,
Oh, yeah.
Amanda Quick, Madeline Hunter, all of those ladies were huge influences on me in the beginning and just really, really made me love historical romance for one. And that was the first 3 books that, well, the books that whenever I became a published author, the first 3 books that were published were historical romance with suspense.
Of
Mine had
course.
a great deal of suspense in them. So, but there wasn't really a genre of historical romantic suspense or historical romantic thriller. You know, they didn't even want me to say that. So, yeah.
Well, and hey, maybe that needs to be a whole new genre, historical thriller.
There's a
I
lot
love it.
more authors out there who dabble in the suspense now in the historical realm. So,
Are there really? Oh,
so
okay. See, I didn't.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
getting into suspense now as far as of liking that as a genre, and I just love it. And I've got to say, you guys, I'm going to do probably a review on Instagram. The book Theo of Golden, and it's such a charming
Mhm.
little book. It's so sweet, but it is Theo and I are moving very slowly in our relationship because I've gotten so used to conflict and things moving at a rapid pace. Slowing down for this sweet little slow read is. I'm like, oh, I'm going, Theo, come on, we got to step it up just a little. Finally getting into it though, and I do appreciate where it's coming from. I love the character, but I thought, wow, I have gotten to the point where it's like I want conflict, not in my life, but I want it in my books.
Yeah, don't we always? Yes.
Yeah, we need
Yeah.
that tension. But yeah, Diane Theo, well, it really is a sweet book, and the character of Theo is very charming. But like I said, I feel like Theo's and my relationship is getting off to a slow start. So if you're wanting a little more conflict and action, then Tracy might be the author for you. And I loved the family. Now this you said, I'll hold the book up again so people can see it. This was the one I read because I asked her, which is a good one for me to start reading. That's not too racy, but it's got some stuff in it. And this is the one you recommended. But this is part of an entire world and a series, right? Following a certain family. You want to talk a little bit about them?
Yeah, so that is the first book. Flashpoint is the first book in what we call Steel Ridge, the Blackwells. So it's about the Blackwell family, and there are 5 books in that series. And the book that you have is about Zeke and Liv. And I don't know if you want me to talk about the book itself, you know, like give like a little summary of the book, or
Yeah,
just
feel
talk
free to
about
let
the
people give
world.
them a taste of what's going on a little out in the world and who these people are. Because I think what this family does, this team does, I love it. It's really
Yeah.
fascinating. It's kind of like Robin Hood for a good cause.
Exactly. It's about an FBI agent who gets assigned to recover a priceless artifact, and she's also asked to help shut down a major drug scheme. Only her partner is the asset recovery guy, one of the Blackwell boys, that she had a one night stand with just a few weeks prior. And so those two have to team up to shut down this drug scheme. And then she starts helping him find this family artifact that he feels that he needs to find. He doesn't even really know, but he thinks that if he can find it, it'll help fulfill something inside of him, so that he becomes this true leader of this family. It's called Blackwell Asset Recovery Services, and he always thought that he would be the number 2 guy, and that his brother Ash would be the leader of their family business.
Mhm.
But Ash as Zeke says, deserted the family and went and became an FBI agent. And now he sees the FBI as the enemy. And so now Liv, who he is working with in this book, he sees her very much as the enemy in the beginning of it. So they have to kind of work through that. And yeah, so that's really kind of the setup.
Very, very, very. There's, of course, all this interesting information about the FBI. How did you research that? And have you ever done like a ride along with a cop, or did you talk to FBI guys? I'm always curious how, because that's almost, it's overwhelming to me, the idea of doing that kind of research. How did you do your research?
I read a lot of books about the FBI. I watched a lot of kind of like documentaries about the FBI. But the thing that helped me out the most, and I honestly, knowing myself, I can't believe I even got the courage up to do this. But I found, oh, I'm sorry, let me back up. I went to Thriller Fest, which is in New York, and they had a couple of members of the FBI there answering questions
Oh,
from the
cool.
writers. Yeah. And so they really recommended and encouraged me to contact their public affairs department in DC, and they would basically hook me up with somebody. And so I needed to talk to somebody about just what FBI agents do in general. I asked them about, the office that's in Asheville versus the office that's in Charlotte. They're, one's like a field office, the one is like a major office. And then I talked to another guy. So I talked to two different men, two different agents. They were both supervisory special agents. And so the one guy, he answered all of those questions. Now, I did my homework. I tried not to ask basic questions that I could find on the internet. So it really had more to do with specific things in my book and how to make them work and everything.
Wow.
And then the other guy that I spoke to was just, oh my gosh, he was like a gem. He was the program manager of the art crime program that the FBI has. And he was just a font of information. And I just have pages and pages of notes that I took between the two of those gentlemen. And they were just so kind and so generous with their time. And so I sent them signed copies of the book once it came out.
Oh, that's very
that
cool.
was fun. Yeah.
I love that. You mentioned two things I think are interesting to throw out for any of our gang who are aspiring writers. The importance of getting out there and getting information and making connections. You mentioned Thriller Fest, which is writing conference.
Yes.
And I know there's so many writing, there's RWA ones, there are conferences all over the place. And I think that's a really great way to get your feet in the door if you're trying to find out about the writing world, don't you?
I do. It's whenever I first started out, I believe it or not, I'm a pretty shy person. And so, and I'm a writer, so I'm an introvert, and so just going up and introducing myself to people is just, so tough for me. But if you can do that and you make some wonderful friends, my best friend today is somebody I met at a local RWA chapter, and we became friends way back when. And she's one of my writing partners in the Steel Ridge world. So yeah, I think, if you can get out there and meet people, that's very, very good way to do it. Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask to reach out to experts, because I think often, maybe not as much with the FBI because maybe they get inundated, but most people are very happy, don't you think, to share about their career, their life, their challenges. And I think it can be very flattering when somebody says, gosh, I want to write a book and you're an expert and would you please help me?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And even the FBI, they have a specific department that deals with these types of inquiries, whether it's authors or film people, because they want to help you get it right. They want to take away some of the, things that we all get wrong in the books or in the film and movies and things like that.
I think that's great. It's important to do your research, and make sure
Yeah.
that you're learning as much as you can. And that's not always easy for sure. But I love that. I love that you actually reached out and somebody was willing to talk to you.
Oh
That
my
is,
gosh.
that's
It's a great
amazing.
experience. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Oh my gosh. So I wanted to touch a little on the type of publishing that you are a part of the writing community, and you're what we often call a hybrid author because you have done both. You've been the traditional publishing with the big name publishers, and you've also gone out and done this on your own. So I would love it to give us an idea what do you find the differences are between those two types of publishing, and how if someone let's say somebody's thinking about I sure would like I've got my first book done or I'd like to write a book. What are your suggestions for them? That was a big, long question, but just pick up.
Yes. I think once you get the book, once you finish the book, I think you just have to ask yourself what kind of support you want and really kind of what type of person that you are. Um, and even saying that, I can actually poke holes in that because whenever I was traditionally published, one of the things there were many things I loved about being traditionally published, but one of the things I loved about being traditionally published was that you had several somebodies that guided you through the process.
Yeah.
You sent in your manuscript and they sent it back with edits and different kinds of edits, and then you get your galleys, and then you're working with the publicists, and then the marketing folks will, at the time, they were making bookmarks for you, and it was just a very cool team atmosphere. There's parts of traditional publishing that I didn't like, and that was waiting. There was just so much waiting for your editor to get back to you, waiting for emails and things like that. The length of time it takes from the time you hand in your manuscript to the time that it actually gets published. There's just a lot of waiting that goes into it. With independent publishing, you are guiding yourself through that process, and you are reaching out and you are making connections to those professionals, like a professional developmental editor, a professional line editor, a professional copy editor, a professional graphic designer. Trying to think what else. If you might need a virtual assistant to help you with some of the administrative tasks, things like that. So you're making those connections, and sometimes it's a good fit, and sometimes it's not, and then you got to start the process over. And as your writing grows, those relationships might change too. And so you get a say in everything. With traditional publishing, being a new author, I got very little say in what the cover design looked like. That was the marketing department's expertise, and that's what they sent you, and they hope that you like it, kind of thing.
Yeah, we
I
think
think
this is wonderful, don't you?
Oh my gosh, that is exactly what they say. The
Yeah, I
only
love they always
on
say.
one of the historical covers, there was a historical element that they had that wasn't quite right for the particular time period that I wrote, and I said something to them and they changed it. So it wasn't as though it was a completely hands-off situation. But if I didn't like my font or the size of my name or anything like that, that was not up for debate. When you're independent published, you are working with the graphic designer and you can tell them whatever you want and they'll do it. But if you get it wrong, if you don't have a good eye for that, or a good sense of the genre, that could be a bad thing. So, what I'm saying? There's a whole bunch of give and take on both sides of it. There's things I loved about being traditionally published, and there's things I loved about being independently published. So, yeah, the best of both worlds is to be doing both of them at the same time, which I did for a short period of time. I'm wholly independently published right now.
But I think you might be edging back into being what we call a hybrid.
I
Correct.
am. I
You're a
am.
little of each.
I'm doing a little bit of querying to find an agent right now for a manuscript that I have, but, yeah, so
Well, now Diane asked if you publish on your own, who edits, etc. You, and I think you. I mean, there are people whose services you could hire to do that, or do you do your own editing?
well, I just like hopefully every writer out there, you do a bit of self-editing, you might go through your manuscript 2, 3, 4 times depending on how often you do it, and then I send it to my developmental editor, and then I get it back, I revise it. Sometimes I'll have to send it back to her for a quick review. I get it back, make some more changes, and then I send it to my copy editor. And then my copy editor fine tunes it for me. And then and then there have been times where on certain subject matters where I'll send it to also what I would call a cold reader or a proofreader, just to make sure, especially after the copy edits, if I've fiddled with it a little bit, because of something I found that I didn't like, I'll send it to somebody to read it. And then I have also beta readers. I have a small little army of beta readers who are just amazing, and they catch things that all of the editors and Tracy did not catch, so yeah.
I have certainly found that to be true in my case. In traditional publishing, there are a lot of eyes on the book.
Yeah.
But sometimes the ones who catch the boo-boos are my readers. That's always a little embarrassing.
It is, yeah,
But,
absolutely.
it's like, it is what it is. And Joe Marie, I'm wondering, have you had experience with traditional publishing? She's like describes this. I think it's traditional you're talking about: waiting, rejections, negligence, and negotiation. That I mean, it's definitely a lot of, and there's negotiation, and I know with like you said, with traditional, with me often artwork or the cover, and having coming out of songwriting, a hook is very important to me. So I really like to have a big say in the title, and I most of the time get to keep my titles, but sometimes I get outvoted, and often it's bad. We ran this by marketing or the cover. I go, you know what? Marketing rules the world. I don't, because that's not my area of expertise to know what's going to catch an eye. And so sometimes there are, like you said, there are advantages, to having a traditional publisher, because they're out there in the trenches, these different people, doing this. But I think, yeah, like Joe and Reith said, I think you kind of have the best of both worlds if you can do it both ways. And some of us write faster than, because like you said, publishing moves slowly, and we have more books we want to write or things we want to get out. When you're writing something that doesn't quite fit the niche that you have been put in. Like I've written a couple of nonfiction books. I wrote my What's in a Name, which was about self-identity, and I wrote my cancer memoir, and all these books. And then last Christmas, some of you, I even bought the book. I'm probably going to give that a better push next year, but my little Starry-Eyed for Christmas, my space alien romance, I thought, okay, my publisher is just going to fall off the chair laughing. Nobody's going to want this silly book. And so sometimes that's also why authors will say, well, I'm going to self-publish this because I don't see my publisher finding a niche for it, or that's not how they have me described, in their little book of authors. And so that can be a real advantage doing it on your own, Diane says the cover of a book is what draws me to a book. Yeah, if I like the cover, I'll pick the book up and see what it's about. I agree,
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe Marie, for the conflict. That's very nice to compliment. Nancy says, I've caught typos, etc., in a lot of different authors' books. I can't help it. I was a transcriptionist, and that penny is hard to shake. Well, I know stuff jumps out at me too. It's like grammatical errors. That's what bugs me. Now, Lori wants to know, do you pay more when you're self-published? Oh, is it to get all this stuff? Lori, do you pay more putting this project together? Is that what you're asking? I'm going to have you clarify before I have to answer that.
That's probably a big, not probably, that is a big difference between being traditionally published and independently published. When you're traditionally published, you're not paying any of that. Your publisher is paying for the editors and the graphic designer and, proofreaders and all of those types of things. When you're independently published, you are paying for all of those up front before the book is ever published. And then you're recouping your costs as the book, goes through its sales cycle.
Well, that's hard, because then you've got to make back everything you invested before you can even turn a profit. So I hope that was a question that you were out that you meant when you asked, Lori. By the way, Kathy, no problem that you're late. You'll be able to catch all this later on my YouTube channel, and it'll still be up on my Facebook page. Insta people, you'll have to either go to the Facebook or to YouTube if you're coming in late to this conversation. But anyway, I just think that's really interesting, and I think it's not a bad idea to be able to do a mix of things, and that way. And when you do your own publishing, you are in charge. You do have total control, and that can be an advantage. You don't have to put up with if somebody said, well, no, this is what we want to do for your cover. You can say, no, here's my vision, I'm going to go with it, right?
And yes, exactly. And I think that being independently published has given me a sense of self-confidence that might have taken me a bit longer to get to as a traditionally published author. And it's hard for me to explain why that is, but it's just, as you get into it, you learn more and more about the business. And for me, learning more and more about the business, about how everything works, how things are, how things tick, that helps me understand my role and what I need to do in order to put out a good book. And so, yeah.
Well, that is very interesting. So guys, so some of you out there, and we've had a lot of inspirational people on lately giving us advice and help. And so Tracy, what advice would you give to someone who's thinking of self-publishing a book?
I would say that if you are interested in writing a book, do it, and keep writing. All you have to do is just write a few words every day, and you'll more than likely have a book at the end of the if you write a page a day, you'll have a book at the end of the year. And and then just make sure that you go through and you edit it, get it as polished and as publishable as you can yourself, through self-editing, and then hire a professional editor. I know some folks choose not to do that route, but I strongly recommend hiring a professional editor. All you have to do is a Google search on developmental editors out there, and you'll get a slew. There's so many more out there now than when I started. And then also hire a professional graphic designer to do your cover. And if you want a little extra oomph in there, is find a couple of really good beta readers that can read your manuscript when it's all edited, to look for those pesky typos. And then do your research and figure out how to get it published on, whether you're using Amazon KDP, which if you go KDP, Kindle Unlimited, that's exclusive. So you cannot put it out on Kobo, and you can't put it out on Google and Barnes & Noble if you go exclusively with Kindle Unlimited. So then you'll have to make that decision. Am I going to be exclusive with KDP, Kindle Unlimited, or do I want to be what they call a wide author? And if you want to be a wide author, then you have to figure out how to upload your book to each of those areas. Yeah. And then you watch the sales come through. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a big learning curve. One of the podcasts that I have learned the most from over the years is Joanna Penn's The Creative Pen, and that's pen with a double N.com.
Cool.
She is amazing. She's been at this from at the beginning. She was one of the pioneers of self-publish or independent publish, being independently published. And she has so much knowledge. There's so much information on her website. You can get probably all your questions answered just going to her website.
I love that. That's great advice. That's very helpful. I just laughed. Diane posted, I caught a typo in a Debbie Maycomber's book once. The wrong daughter's name was in that paragraph. I'm going, oh my gosh, that has happened in my books.
It happens.
You're writing along and you accidentally say the wrong name. And again, I think the interesting thing, even with which is why we love copy editors. Hopefully they can catch it. But often you get into the story, whoever is editing it even gets into it, and things get by them. And authors, sometimes we change in midstream and they're, oh, I should do this instead. And some of you heard this story. It's so silly and so embarrassing, but oh my gosh, this was years ago. And I had written this story, and it was about women making some financial changes to make their lives better. And the one character reader wrote me and said, Sheila, I'm a little confused. In one chapter, Rachel has a deadbeat sister, and later on in the book, she's an only child. Well, can I say she unalived her sister? I don't know. It was like, whoops, it just happened in there. And that was just, sometimes it happens. And many of you, I know you guys a while back, I had a contest for The Man Next Door because there was a totally embarrassing, I was mortified, little boo-boo in there. And I was offering, had a prize and everything. Find the mistake. People found stuff, but it wasn't the error that was bugging me. And thinking, hopefully it has since been fixed. But just when you're writing, sometimes, again, I say, look at the hair color, you guys. Sometimes you're just writing away and your brain just takes a little vacation. And so it happens, but things just get by, so anyway. Oh my gosh, we've got Emmanuel from Liberia turning in.
Oh.
Hi, Reverend Emmanuel. Thanks for joining us. And Tanya's made it here from Central Illinois. All come in late. I'm sorry that you missed a lot of the good stuff, but like I said, you can find it on my YouTube channel, and it's going to be here on Facebook for a while. So we will still, our pearls of wisdom will still be out there. And anybody who has not yet said, yes, I would like a little spice in my life, and I want to put my name in the drawing to get a free book from Tracy, whether it's in the U.S., a physical book, or if it's out of country, she will send you an ebook. And so Gerhardt will draw for that later tonight, and I'll announce a winner on Facebook tomorrow, or maybe even late tonight. So just keep that in mind. And all you guys, I'm so sorry for you who are still dealing with snow and ice and all that. And did the groundhog see his chatter today? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
What does it mean? What's our prediction for the future? Probably more winter, I'm guessing. Wait, but let's get back on track. Before we let Nancy says I need spice in my life. I love it. So does Heather. You okay? We got a lot of people who like some spice in their life. Okay, guys. Gerhardt's going to be in charge of drawing a name. I don't want that responsibility, but there'll be a winner announced either tonight or tomorrow morning. So before we let Tracy go, though, where can people find you? I know, well, you have a podcast because that's how we met. I got to be on your podcast. But where all can people find you, Tracy, when they want to know more about you or more about your books?
I think probably the easiest place to go is to my website, which is just tracydevlyn.com. You can sign up for my newsletter. I do all sorts of kind of behind the scenes things in my newsletter. I do giveaways in my newsletter. I have freebies a lot of times in my newsletter from other authors, and then all of my social media links on there. But just for the purposes of here, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and I have a podcast where I talk to authors like the amazing Sheila Roberts, and I have all of the back episodes there, so you can watch all sorts of author interviews there. It's called High Stakes now. It used to be called Undercurrents of Romance, so I've got both of them on there now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, that's going to be, and I guess we've got 6 more weeks of winter coming, according to somebody.
Okay.
Humbug, but oh well. Anyway, somebody already said goodbye, so goodbye, guys. I'm going to let Tracy get back to her life. But thank you all for joining us tonight.
Yes.
Hope you found this helpful and fun and informative. I know I have really, really loved it. And so we're going to say, oopsie. Maybe we're not going to say goodbye to my Instagram people because I can't find there it is. Oh, God.
Goodbye, everyone.
I'm going to get my own technician. Oh, my God. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. Loved having us. So we'll say bye first to our Instagram people and appreciate you coming. And we're saying goodbye and goodbye. They're gone. And now we're saying goodbye to our Facebook people. And again, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. It's been lovely. And isn't Tracy fabulous?
Thank you so much. Be safe out there, everyone.